All right, so here is the opening screen. Welcome to the eBadge Academy. There's a little bit of instruction here that might be really helpful the first time you log in. You can click on Catalog at the top of the page to see the badges that are available. It does remind you have to earn that Code of Ethics commitment badge first. The accredited education badges are purple and orange, and these require an upload of training records. The core competency badges are always green and orange. These require a testimonial. And it talks about something that we're going to talk about a little later on. These badges can be combined to reach the DSP1, DSP2, and DSP3 certification levels. And if that's something you're interested in pursuing, there's a particular course that you should enroll in the catalog. So I'm going to click on Catalog. And now I can see what I think of as the buffet of badges. There's many, many different choices available. Not every badge is going to be a good fit for every DSP, but we want to have enough choices here, like a buffet, so that there are options that do work for every DSP. And as the instructions reminded me, we need to apply for the Code of Ethics badge before we do anything else. So what I'm going to do is pull up the Code of Ethics badge. You can hover over any of these badges and get a little more information. And so here's the description of the Code of Ethics badge. And if I click on that link at the top, I get that same information. I can click Get It if I want to pursue that badge. And then I have to tell it that, yes, I want to enroll in the course that will help me get the Code of Ethics badge. Now, it's called a course, but it's a really straightforward course, especially this Code of Ethics commitment badge. We need to make sure that we're agreeing to provide services in line with the NADSP Code of Ethics. There is a link here where you can review the text of the NADSP Code of Ethics. And when I'm ready to make that commitment, I would click on this activity at the bottom, Commit to the NADSP Code of Ethics, and say, yes, I do agree to provide services in line with the NADSP Code of Ethics. Just click Save My Choice. My choice has been saved. And if I go back to the home screen, I now have a badge. I now have the Code of Ethics commitment badge. So, one badge down. If I want to apply for another badge, I can go back to that catalog. Let's say I want to apply for this 10 hours of accredited education badge. I've got 10 hours of training under my belt. It's in an NADSP accredited curriculum. So I'd like to get this badge. I'd like to enroll myself in that course. And there's some instruction here. But the activity in this case is to upload your training records. And I'm going to be uploading a new submission. And in this case, I have my pick of all the different accredited curricula. In this case, I'm going to use the first one, which is the College of Direct Support. And I need to upload my training records, a transcript or certificates or whatever else I might have that documents this training. And so if I just happen to have my College of Direct Support transcript, and I would just drag it into this box, let it go. And so my transcript is there. It's ready to submit. And that badge is going to be reviewed. It's going to go off to a reviewer who's going to verify that this is a real College Direct Support transcript and that it does show 10 hours of accredited education And if those two things are the case, then that badge would be approved, and I would have earned another badge, my second badge, for 10 hours of accredited education. I can look at the submissions I've made, and right now that submission that I made today is in the awaiting review status, so you can log in and check on the status of your badges, see what's going on with your submissions. That's something that's available to you in this eBadge Academy software. I'll go ahead and apply for one more badge. And I believe I would like to apply for the completing documentation badge. So I need to find that. Here it is at the bottom of the first page. By the way, this is just the first page. There are more badges on page 2. But for now, I'm going to apply for this completing documentation badge. And this is skill statement 2G, and it aligns with person-centered practices, CMS core competency, and the NADSP competency area of documentation. So I would like to get that badge. I would like to enroll myself in the course to get that badge. And here's the instructions. Again, reminds me that I'm looking for skill statement 2G. I'm trying to demonstrate skill statement 2G. I've got the 2 prompts here. Prompt number 1 is describe an example in which documentation you completed made a positive difference in the life of a person you support. And then I've got the second prompt, the values prompt, explain how your completion of documentation in this example aligns with the NADSP Code of Ethics. And again, I just happen to have a Word document where I've typed up something to answer those 2 prompts. So this is an example. We're going to call the person being supported Tim. Tim was someone who had frequent seizures, and these did have a significant impact on his quality of life. This DSP says, you know, my coworkers and I would regularly point out events in the community that Tim might be interested in, and Tim would often decline these opportunities. And sometimes he would say the reason was that he was worried about having a seizure. And all the different DSPs that supported Tim had some ideas about what might trigger Tim's seizures. And some of them felt that it was certain foods, and others felt that the certain weather conditions, such as really hot temperatures, might be a factor. This DSP decided to take some data about when Tim's seizures were happening. They created a tracking sheet. They noted the time, the date, the outdoor temperature, and recent meals. And they talked to their supervisor about doing this, of course. And they took all that information to the next neurology appointment where they were accompanying Tim. And the neurologist was able to look at this data and see something in it and know that maybe he should make an adjustment to medication based on what he was seeing in that documentation, which is, you know, something that we would need a neurologist to determine. And with this new medication, you know, Tim is doing much better, having fewer seizures, and he's also much more active in his community since his seizures have become less frequent. So that whole paragraph there is to address the first prompt, the skills prompt, and then there's a shorter paragraph underneath to address the values prompt. That this DSP felt this work was consistent with the Code of Ethics because they were promoting Tim's physical and emotional well-being, which is one of those tenets of the code. They also showed respect for Tim by talking with him about this process, seeking his permission before going any further. And they also respected confidentiality by keeping this documentation in a locked filing cabinet. So I think that's pretty much ready to go. I'm going to close this file and get ready to upload it. So we're going to go to the submission activity here. And we're going to do a new submission. And again, we would need to drag and drop the attachment. So we're going to grab that Word document, put it here. And again, you can submit these as a Word document. You can submit these as a PDF. You can also upload audio files in either MP3 or WAV format. So if you're someone who would prefer to just tell your story, just to talk about it, that's an option as well. You know, you can use any sort of recording device, your smartphone, to make this audio recording, and then you can upload the audio file instead. And just like a reviewer would be reading the Word document, they could listen to your audio file and make a determination. So this is ready to submit. And again, it's going into that awaiting review status. So it's available to the reviewer, and when the reviewer has a chance, they're going to take a look at it. So I'm going to see if I can get these 2 badges that have been submitted today reviewed. And while I'm looking into that, I'm going to turn you over to John to talk to you a little more.
Hey, that's great, Dan.